I will now call the March 4th, 2013 Blue Springs City Council meeting to order. We will stand, observe a moment of silence, and then I will lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. I want to welcome you to tonight's City Council meeting, as well as those that might be watching on Cable TV 7. The next item is the consent agenda. There are items that need to be pulled. If not, I accept a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobell?
Aye.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Bowerman?
Aye.
Carried unanimously.
Next, we have a presentation on the Adams Point Conference Center, and I will defer to Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate the opportunity to bring this item to the City Council tonight. And Rich, you said indicated Larry's on his way?
Yes, sir.
You-
Called me a couple minutes ago, so he was within a few minutes.
Okay, I'll talk slowly, but you may have to pinch hit here in a second. Mayor and Council, as you know, the city owns the Adams Point Conference Center. It's now almost 13 years old. And several months ago, I began making you aware that staff was working with Larry Gates and Rockgate Management. Rockgate is the operator of the facility, on addressing some deferred maintenance and capital items with regard specifically to the interior of the property. And tonight, what we have before you is a discussion item only, and a presentation with some recommendations. And if you find yourself at the conclusion of that presentation being favorable of the recommendation, then we will bring at the next council meeting or soon thereafter bring forward formal action to appropriate funds so that we can move forward with some facility improvements. As I indicated, the facility is approximately 13 years old. It's beginning to age slightly, and in order to remain competitive in a very competitive hotel and conference center environment, we find it appropriate to recommend to you that we make some improvements to that facility that will be made in conjunction with improvements that will be made to the Courtyard Marriott Hotel. And I think with that, I'd like to conclude my comments, and I'd like to introduce to you Larry Gates. Larry, I see you just came in here, so you're just in time. And Larry is with his team, Bill Essman and Rich David. All of you know this team that has been with us since the very beginning when the conference center opened. And Larry, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Eric, and thanks for hearing this request. My name is Larry Gates, and I'm the president of Rockgate Management Company and also the principal and RMT of Blue Springs, that is the owner of the Courtyard and your operator of the Adams Point Conference Center. As Eric has pointed out, these structures are now going into their 13th year of operation, and frankly held up quite well. I mean, they're still in awfully good condition thanks to fairly aggressive maintenance and sort of interim renovation process that we've done over the years. But they are now at a point where there's certain things that cannot be done on a patch and Band-Aid basis. I might start with the Courtyard. The Courtyard, to not only to maintain the franchise, but to meet immediate customer needs, really needs a new lobby. And the new lobby is not just replacing furniture or putting together some new carpets or wallpaper. This is going to be a complete remake of the lobby, which includes a smart board and all kinds of technology in the lobby. They'll changing the front desk to very contemporary look, and most importantly, installing a bistro, which is an extraordinarily expensive operation, where we'll have day and night service with an entirely different type of presentation than you see out there today. That has been estimated to cost about $700,000. We have tracked this process with other courtyards throughout the country, and we are hopeful that we might save a little something there, but that's what we've budgeted. So what I would like to talk about just a little bit of the conference center. Through all of this, I can tell you, and you can take comfort in the fact that we will and have in the past invested every bit as much as the city, and will continue to do that. Part of that investment is certainly the fact that we have never taken a management fee, even though under contract we're allowed to take one, and we've never even taken an accounting fee, which by contract we're allowed to take off the project. That's been put back into the project. In spite of the fact that we've had low revenues and certainly not the demand that we all hoped for 15 years ago when we first started looking at this, our level of service remains excellent. The customer response out there is still very good. Still, as recently as last week, got a compliment from someone in Kansas who'd had some event out there and knew we were involved, and the quality of the food, the quality of the service, certainly the quality of the people that work there are just outstanding. The conference center and the campus itself in its entirety deliver a strong economic benefit to the city of Blue Springs, I think, in spite of the fact that we're partners and you've had to invest probably more than you expected, and assure you that we've invested way more than we expected, and you were good enough to help us with the tax abatements. We still ingest a good deal of revenue to the city in terms of sales tax revenues, occupancy tax revenues, and employment benefits to some people, many of whom have been with us a long time out there, some even since we've opened. Finally, I think that your investment in this process and our investment, even though we may not receive the kind of returns that businesses would expect to receive on their investment, I think maintains the opportunity to continue to be the anchor for a high-quality development eventually along the Adams Dairy Parkway corridor. I mean, we all expected it 10 years ago or even more, and there's been lots of reasons that we've enumerated to you over the years in terms of what happened back to the west of us, in terms of development, and more continues to come, and the competitors, and also just the fact that Adams Dairy Parkway probably didn't meet the vision that all of us had when we went out there. But the retail's now in, and the campus designation by the University of Missouri, we still think is an optimistic beginnings to things that can happen well, but to maintain that opportunity for both of us, for both sides of this partnership, just requires a major investment right now by both sides. And what Eric and I have discussed along that lines is to basically do these things that are set forth, including new carpets and vinyl in the conference center, a new sort of staging area, bringing in the more contemporary type of facilities that you see in conference facilities with tall boy tables and some meeting areas inside the staging area. Hopefully getting some automatic doors that open up into the conference center, and then upgrading the restrooms, which really need. They're showing a lot of date to them, even though they're clean and well done. That, coupled with the lobby rollout in the spring of next year, the spring of 2014, we think will give us a chance to launch into a new competitive environment, which includes the Drury Inn and the new facility that I think Eric put in his report that is apparently still coming, and the renovation, doing some renovation at the Hilton also. But we still think we are the premier place to have your wedding, the premier place to have your business meetings. We just need to have the place upgraded, and we need to have probably our marketing efforts redoubled, which we're prepared to do, and to try to get back out there and hopefully and I've talked to Eric about this with your help and some designated participation by the city staff, we can find a way to really explode this thing back onto the market in 2014 when it's all done. That's our plan. I would be glad to field questions, and Bill Ashman's here, and Bill's run the conference center since the day we opened, and Rich David, who basically runs our overall operations out of Blue Springs for our whole company.
there any questions, Mr. Gates? Any questions? Seeing none, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Your presentation, Mr. Johnson.
Your Honor, I just want to specify for anybody who might have a question about it or not be clear about it. When the city issued bonds for this project back in, I believe it was 1999, there was a building and facility reserve fund that was set aside for $600,000 that came out of the proceeds from the bonds. Those funds are what we're talking about allocating at this point in time, and the plan as presented to you tonight would be to allocate $450,000 for interior improvements. A list of those items in priority order has been provided to you in the council information form, and then we will set aside $150,000 for any exterior needs that might be revealed or we need to address, such as any roof repairs or modifications, windows, painting of the exterior of the facility. And so we believe that with Larry's help and his team's assessment of the inside and with Dennis Doval and the building and the city's building and facility staff looking at the exterior, we think we have covered the bases here and have a solid plan before you tonight. So if you're generally in agreement, we'll be bringing that information back to you at the next council meeting.
Any questions of Mr. Johnson? Seeing none, without objections, you can bring it back
Okay, thank you.
to the council. Okay, next we have introduction to Reno Bill 4250.
I'll introduce it, Your Honor.
Okay.
First reading of Bill Number 4250, an ordinance adding a new title, Title 8, Redevelopment and New Chapter, Chapter 800, Blue Springs Land Bank Agency to the Code of Ordinances, City of Blue Springs, Missouri, in order to create a Blue Springs Land Bank Agency.
Move the bill be approved on its first reading and proceed with the second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no?
Second reading, an ordinance adding a new title, Title 8, Redevelopment, and a new chapter, Chapter 800, Blue Springs Land Bank Agency, to the Code of Ordinances, City of Blue Springs, Missouri, in order to create a Blue Springs Land Bank Agency.
Move the bill be approved on its second reading and assign the appropriate ordinance number.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please. Discussion? Anybody? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Levesey?
Aye.
Councilman Fowler?
Aye.
Councilman Carter?
Aye.
Councilman Edmondson?
Aye.
Councilman Garman?
Aye.
Councilman Corbell?
Aye.
Carried unanimously, given an ordinance number 4429.
That brings us to mayoral announcements. First and foremost, I want to publicly praise and thank Chris Sandy, Jeff Sales, and their snow removal crew. I've received a number of emails congratulating the city on a fine job that you've done. I've even heard today that you outshine every community in the metropolitan area. And we want to publicly acknowledge that and show our appreciation for what you've done. Yield to Mr. Sandy.
Well, Mayor and Council, on behalf of my staff, the 43 people that actually go out and fight the good fight against the snowstorm, I will accept those thanks and appreciate the acknowledgement of their hard work.
Thank you. We have, I have two more announcements. The next one is the mayor's State of the City address was scheduled for Thursday, February 21st. And we know what happened. So that had to be postponed and rescheduled. Right now, it is tentatively scheduled for Monday, April 15th. That should be a very easy day for most people to remember, tax day. So anyway, as it stands right now, Kim and I talked today, and Bill, is that correct? Have they gotten back with you? Want to make sure the conference center is available and not competing with revenue coming in from outside people. So April 15th, as it stands right now, will be the mayor's State of the City address. We also want you to save the date of April 2nd, which is Election Day, for the Veterans Way Memorial dedication ceremony at Pink Hill Park. That's going to be from 3 to 5 p.m. So you can go ahead and kind of mark that on your calendar. We're very excited about that and the work that's gone in and the fundraising that's gone into making that happen. So we want to have a good weather not only for that, but for the election as well. That brings us to Thoughts to Ponder. tonight comes from George Eliot. And it reads, "It is never too late to be what you might have been." End quote. I don't have any visitors' appearance forms, so I would accept the motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, same sign. We adjourn.